Support WrestleTalk!
Be kind to each other in the comments.
Los Intangibles. The WrestleTalk are here to review NXT. Welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast review of NXT. I am Chopper Pete Quinnell. No corporate anymore. Thank you very much. And I'm joined by my intangible co-host, Tempest, the wrestler. Hello. We're going to be talking about NXT today. First things first, if you want to get in your Ultrachats, WrestleTalk.com/support. The link is right there underneath that Los Intangibles logo. Isn't that neat?
Who put that there?
It's Los Intangibles podcast, everyone. Also, if you want to become a member on YouTube, there's a little join button underneath where you can get a bunch of emotes, including our brand new LIW emote. That's right, we've got merch and an emote. Go join if you wanna. You can do the LIW emotes all in the chat. And also, of course, we've got merch. Lost Intangibles, the WrestleTalk t-shirts at WrestleShop.com. The link is in the pinned comment and at the top of the description. Go buy it because it's a really freaking cool t-shirt and we have 3 different font colors and stuff. Go get them. It's great. All right, go do the thing. Anyway, thank
Plug
you.
machine.
I'm so good at this. Let's talk about NXT, because the first thing we're going to be talking about today is the main event of the show, which was Bronson Reed versus Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship. Oh God, I think I have the stream open so I can hear myself talking.
Oh God,
and I hate it.
Oh,
and I
God.
don't know what
I don't know
tab
how
I've got
you've
it open
managed
on.
this.
I don't know what tab I've got it open on.
You take a week off, you come back, and you're just a
I'm
series of
sloppy as
errors
hell.
here, Pete. What's going on, mate?
There's no...
All right, well, while he figures that out, Bronson Reed is your new North American champion, everyone. He was able to defeat Johnny Gargano in a steel cage match, despite the help of Austin Theory. It was a grand old time. Pete, are you quite all right now?
I'm good. I struggled to find that tab. Goodness me, that was a whole ordeal. But I found it. I have way too many tabs open. That's my problem. Yeah, it was a really fun match. I've lost track of everything that's happening. It was awesome. You guys know how I feel about Bronson Reed. I think he's fantastic. I thought the match psychology was great, having Austin Theory on the outside, constantly just getting in the way, like shutting the door on Bronson Reed, trying to climb up the outside and push him on the inside. There were some really great like high spots, loads of big power spots from Bronson Reed, just doing like middle rope power bombs to Gargano. Gargano doing a ridiculous like reverse poison rana off the top rope onto Bronson Reed, and it was the best. This was a very, very fun match, and I love the ending as well, because it started to look like Bronson Reed was going to try and escape through the door, and I was like, you should never have a babyface escape through the door. That's really lame. And I really liked at the end, the door was open, he hit like a tsunami to Gargano's back, went over to the door, slammed it shut, and then climbed up, hit another tsunami to Gargano, and then got the win. And I was like, that's a great ending. Love that. And it was very, very decisive victory for Bronson Reed. I'm really happy he's a North American champion. They had a really good little video package earlier of him being like, it's been 14 years. It's been everywhere through Australia and the UK and everywhere in America. Now I'm in NXT. I want to look at my wife and tell her 14 years later, we finally made it and all that stuff. Like it was all just really, really well done.
Yeah, we don't get really, really good cage matches in WWE anymore, it seems. Like, cage matches, for the most part, have kind of been played out. There's only so much you can do in matches like this, but this was just a match where they did fundamental, good cage match psychology, and it all worked. It all worked, and it gave you an ending that you wanted to see. It felt like this was the right time for some new blood in the championship scene, because Bronson Reed's been around for about 2 years now. He's really good, and he needed that big win. Johnny Gargano, of course, has been there. He doesn't need that win as much now. He's been champion for months. Give Bronson Reed this moment. We did, and it feels great, especially with that promo earlier in the show. Like, how do you not get emotional watching this guy cry? And afterwards, you see that his wife was there, and she gets to go up on stage, and then they do the Triple H point. It was just so good. I like feel-good moments in wrestling, and this was a really good feel-good moment.
Yeah, exactly that. It was a very feel-good moment. And for me personally, like, even going as far back as the actual breakout tournament itself in like June 2019, so literally almost 2 years ago now, Bronson Reed was probably one of the three guys where I was just like, I'm interested. I'm on board with you in particular. Out of like the 8 people that were in it, I went back to find what 8 people were in it because I'd forgotten. Dexter Lumis.
Oh, can I try?
Oh yeah. By all means.
Can I try? Because
I gave you one, Dexter.
Yeah. Well, I knew Dexter was in it. Was in it? Dexter
in it?
Lumis was in it.
Yes.
Dexter, Cameron Grimes.
Yes.
ACH as Jordan Miles.
Jordan Miles, yeah.
Joaquin Wilde.
Correct.
Bronson Reed.
Sure.
And I think that's all I got. I can't remember the last 3.
Okay.
But, oh, yeah, that's tough.
But I will say 5 out of 8 of these people are actually like regular mainstay names in NXT now, which I think is actually pretty good.
Was Isaiah Swerve Scott one of them?
Yes, very much.
There you go. That's 6. I think that's all I got, though.
You said Cameron Grimes, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Then there was Boa. Which,
completely forgot about Boa.
All right. And also Angel Garza.
Huh.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten those last 2. I wouldn't have gotten those at all.
Yeah. But genuinely, going back to that, literally, the people that I like immediately like connected with when I watched that tournament was Bronson Reed, Swerve, and Angel Garza. I was literally like, those 3 are great. They're amazing. They're like top guys. So for me personally, to see Bronson Reed now as North American champion, I'm like, yes, all of that. Yes, I'm so happy for you in particular. And obviously on the same episode, we had Swerve like properly like Hit Row having the thing, which we're going to talk about later because Hit Row is so good.
I can't wait to gush about it.
Dude.
Spoiler alert. Dude. I'm really into it.
Same. It's so good. I'm so mad I missed their debut on last week's episode. I obviously had to go back and watch it, but I'm so mad I didn't get to talk about it on the episode because it's so good.
Oh, Pete, you missed like the best episode of NXT last week.
I know.
It was the best. I think it's the best show that I've reviewed, period, on this channel. Maybe the first night of TakeOver, but I loved last week's NXT so much.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously Angel Garza, he wasn't in NXT for very long, but then we went straight up to the main roster. But I genuinely think most of the lineup from the breakout tournament has actually done pretty well in NXT, with the exception of a couple, obviously, which is pretty good. And also, that was June 26th, 2019 was when that started last year. So it's been almost a year, like bang on pretty much 11 months since 11 months. A year and 11 months since then. And just to see Bronson now as North American champion, love that guy. I think the match was great. But most importantly, Tempest, I know we had it last week, but I wasn't here for last week's episode. So for me, this is a big return. The Intangibles were back on it.
Oh, you missed some good Intangibles.
Actual NXT Intangibles were back on this episode. And I will admit, they're not as bad as I remember. They
were pretty bad last week. They were
last
real
week's
bad.
Were terrible.
Oh, Santos Escobar, Intangible. Lucha.
I forgot about that one. Yes.
I'm not losing my mind over old Intangibles, but I think that broke me. I'll be perfectly honest. Just Lucha, not Lucha Libre.
No, Lucha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
What were the Intangibles this time, Pete?
So for Bronson Reed, Intangibles, agility, power.
See, he's graduated from just agility. It was agility last time, and now it's agility and power. At least they're both nouns. It's not agile and power, or agility and powerful. So we're getting somewhere. This is progress.
You say that, and then we get to Johnny Gargano's ones. which is adaptable, sure, endurance, you lost me,
Sure.
and ring IQ. He had three. He had three intangibles. Wild.
Well, I don't know how he didn't win. He had one more intangible.
How many intangibles? Crazy. It's basically a
More
handicap match
intangible.
at this point.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Good lord.
They're not as bad as last week's. Last week's were terrible. Having gone back and watched them, but yeah, fantastic match. Great feel good moment. Loved all of this. Loved Bronson Reed. Promo was great. I don't really have much more to say. I just thought it was awesome. I'm really happy it happened. Really happy he's North American champion. I think it was a good choice. I think Gargano's done loads with the belt already. He can move straight up into the NXT championship picture and it won't feel out of place, I don't think. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think that basically covers it. I'm really excited now to see Bronson Reed and Isaiah Swerve Scott get a chance to be guys on this show, you know, because I mean, we've talked loads about how this show has just been the Gargano, Ciampa, Cole, Balor show for too long. And now we're getting to see someone win a title for the first time and face a challenger who's a fresh face. And I'm really excited about that, especially considering I'm really into these two guys right now, especially Isaiah Swerve Scott. But we'll get to it.
Yes. Which you can tell we cannot wait to talk about this. But first, let's get into your Ultrachats and let's see what you guys thought. If you want to get in your Ultrachats, WrestleTalk.com/support is the link to do it. And we will make sure we get through every single one of your Ultrachats before we get out of here today. Alan Monson comes in to say, hey, LIW, with Bobby Fish going solo, what do you envision he will do as a single star? I can see Fish being in the North American title picture after his feud with Dunne. Also, LIW for life. I could see him being in the North American title picture. I don't think he'll win the title.
I could see him winning the cruiserweight title.
Yes.
At some point. That seems more like his ceiling. I said last week when he came back, I don't feel bad for Bobby Fish because he's awesome, you know, and he's awesome, but I don't look at Bobby Fish as a guy with a very high ceiling even in NXT. He's always just kind of seemed like the last member of Undisputed Era. And that kind of sucks because he's that good. But at the same time, I don't think he's the kind of guy that they will put in the NXT title picture, maybe even in the North American title picture. I just don't see him as being that guy in their mind. But the Cruiserweight title, he would have awesome matches with Kushida. Let me see that.
Yeah, 100%. We've got quite a few Ultra Chats here about Lost Intangibles, the WrestleTalk. So let's just do a couple here real quick. The intangible one, Ryan Be Bad. Oh, like your name change. Thank you very much. That's very good. Thick boy era now begins, and I'm all in for it. Me too. Also, so glad that Pete blew up Ollie. Thank you. I used to bask in the glory of King Chopper and then was sad when he became a fool's fool. But now he is a rap god. Hashtag Lost Intangibles. I'm not Eminem. God, just wear a hat.
Hey, his name is Eminem. His girl wanted Eminem, so he gave her Eminem, and Eminem. Oh my God.
God almighty. The other one here, it says, the Gecko17 said, we'll be watching live, but I'm about to go finish my D&D campaign. Lost Intangibles for life. 1, 444 life. 2, D&D campaign. Awesome. I'm happy D&D. For you. I love D&D. That's great. Go do your... Yeah. Do that.
God, it's like a trigger word for Pete. You say
it really
D&D.
Is.
He's like a dog. D&D. His head just perks up.
Genuinely, it's great. Sadie6969 Deegan says, well, if it isn't the coolest dudes, my reaction to your reveal, I can't say this. Oh my God, effing hell. Nearly. You beautiful boys are awesome. Can't wait to get my Lost Intangibles shirt. Can't wait for y'all to hold all the WrestleTalk gold. Oh, I love NXT, by the way. A great cage match and hit row rule. They really do. Thank you very much for all the love. Of course, we're great and we deserve it. But yes, thank you nonetheless. And Judas Messiah says, so this is the first week of your guys' 3-week push. Can't wait till you two get destroyed by Ollie and I can stop hearing you two always complaining. I mean, complain about the awesome Alexa and Dexter. That is a really interesting Ultra Chat. And in no way truthful, because all of us, we will hold all the WrestleTalk gold. I will become Jam That Champion. Tempest will become Quizomania champion once again, and we will be destroying WrestleTalk from the top down.
That covers it. That covers it. Thank you for your money, Judas.
Thanks for the money, bro. Oh boy. Anyway, that's enough of your Ultrachats for now. Let's get into talking about the rest of NXT. But before we do it, did just want to say one more time, we have merch. We're the greatest, obviously. Lost Intangibles, the WrestleTalk merch. You can get your t-shirt by going to the top of the description or in the pinned comment. Go and get your LIW t-shirt right now. And also, if you want to become a member on the channel, get a bunch of emotes. You can also get your brand new LIW emote in the chat, and you can start spamming that all up in the chat. Why not? Because we're great and we can do that kind of thing. Okay, so this episode of NXT itself started off with Toni Storm versus Zoey Stark, which had a little video package at the start of the show, as well as the Bronson Reed Johnny Gargano one. It was like a dual video package. And I will say this: what I really like about NXT is that the vast majority of the matches on each show feel like they've had at least some sort of build. And this one, even if not every story knocks it out the park and is an absolute, world-class feud or whatever, at least it's had a bit of story and there's a bit of something to sink your teeth into with everything. This had its own story for a couple weeks. It had, as much as we've disagreed with, Toni Storm losing consistently and things like that, had its speed bumps along the way. I was still very interested in this match. This felt like more of a big deal because they built it up for at least a few weeks. And these two, they came in and they had their match at the TakeOver pre-show, and Zoey Stark got the big win. And that was kind of Zoey Stark's big push starting moment out of that. And I think something they've done really well with Zoey Stark is that she didn't feel out of place against Toni Storm in this match, which I think they've done a very good job in making her feel like, oh, she's part of the NXT women's roster now. She's not just some newbie coming in. She's not a Leah, put it that way, who's been there for forever and is just very much just kind of there. She feels like she has her place in NXT now, which is, I think they've done a very good job with.
Yeah, so I have a few thoughts about this. First, saying that Zoey Stark has... Okay, first of all, can I just say that I need these two to never wrestle each other again for the simple reason that doing the written review, I kept wanting to call her Toni Stark. I kept merging their names together, and it was like, oh yeah, Toni Stark, that sounds right, because it does.
Because it is right, yeah.
Oh, God. Never wrestle again, just for that reason. But anyway... Yep. I thought that Zoey Stark and Toni Storm did feel close to being on the same level. And it felt more like not necessarily just Zoey Stark coming up to Toni Storm's level, but I thought this rivalry as a whole kind of brought Toni Storm down a little bit. So it was like them meeting in the middle. That is good for Zoey Stark, not so good for Toni Storm, but if we can go a good direction out of this, I feel like that can be a positive. Because for me, this match is like a crossroads where you can either go, if everyone involved loses matches in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to blow a gasket and be like, what was the point of any of this? Wins and losses should matter. The whole deal. But if Toni Storm is able to go and face Frankie Monet, or if she's going to, well, she'll probably lose, so don't do that. But if she goes on and if she's the next challenger for the women's title, or if they do something like that, that's a good direction where you can build off of this and give her a win that means something. That would be good. But if this just leads to more losses for everyone, I feel like we're just wasting our time. That being said, I really like the match. So I'm hoping we get the more positive outcome coming out of this. But the match itself was really good. And look at that new finish.
Oh, dude. Let's talk about that. Because I was stunned because Toni Storm a couple of times went for the Storm Zero, got reversed and stuff. There's a really nice reversal going into Hurricane Rana out of the Storm Zero, which looks really, really nice. And then she just hit the Storm Zero. And I was like, oh, cool. Toni Storm wins. And then she kicked out. And I was like, I hate that. Why is she kicking out the Storm Zero? That's really stupid. I'm so mad at this. Why did they do that? I'm an idiot. I'm a mark, because the whole reason was Toni Storm's debuting a new finisher. That's the whole point of this. My note for that was, what in the name of F was that new finish from Storm? I think I liked it, but it's wild as hell. I was going to get a GIF and play it. Turns out the GIF is too large for the thing we're on, so I'm just going to share my screen. So we're going to improvise here. Let's see if this works. Hey, there it is.
Man, that's tiny.
Yeah, sure is. But look at it.
The way I looked at it, the way I looked at this move, there's a lot of like twisting involved, and I think that makes it kind of look more complicated than it is. Because to me, this is like Randy Orton's backbreaker mixed with a DDT / pile driver.
Right.
Where instead of just dropping to her knees and wrenching on the back and neck, she just drops Zoey Stark on her head. So
wild.
I think we said, or not we said, but on Twitter, her trainer, this was his move. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, she used your move. Can you believe it? And he's like, well, yes, I trained her. Apparently it's called the Ruby Cutter. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's going to be the name that she uses, but something to keep in mind. A little piece of trivia, if not.
Yeah, and apparently it was like a slightly altered version where it went into a DDT version rather than like a cutter version. Yeah. Because I believe those were the two. Which I've watched this several times to try and figure out what was going on with it. And I think it's growing on me. The more I watch it, I'm like, actually, that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. It's cool.
I can rock with it.
Yeah, any kind of move that's kind of ends in a DDT or some sort of landing on the head thing, I'm like, yeah, that's good. I can buy that. So yeah, that was really cool. Toni Storm gets the win off that move, which I thought was really cool. I'm glad that she got the win back over Zoey Stark, and it kind of says that it kind of almost proves Toni right that like Zoey did get a fluke victory in a sense, which we know isn't necessarily true because Zoey has kind of been proving herself against Saray. Like she held her own against Saray and stuff like that. So I don't think Zoey Stark got particularly buried out of this by any means. But Toni got an important win, which was then undermined by Frankie Monet, who came out and that's her thing, is just interrupting everything and being a knob, which is just what she did. So she came out and like the graphics all came out. Frankie Monet in-ring debut next week and just kind of interrupting Toni Storm's celebration. Yeah, fine. That's what Frankie Monet, that's what she's doing as a heel, is just interrupting all the women's segments ever. Sure, go for it. Because I'm still not sold on Frankie Monet as a character. I mean, we haven't seen her wrestle yet. So, obviously we've seen her wrestle elsewhere, but not in NXT as of yet. So I'm still not 100% bought into Frankie Monet, but something I do like that they've done so far is that she's just gone to all of the women's division. Like she hasn't picked a feud yet. She's literally just gone like, Io Shirai, Emma Moon, Shotzi Blackheart, Toni Storm, like it just doesn't matter. She's just going to interrupt and annoy everyone in the women's division. Like Raquel Gonzalez, like none of that matters. She's just going to annoy everyone, which I kind of like. I think they've done a decent job with that.
I would agree.
Yeah. After that, we had Legado del Fantasma backstage. And the interviewer says, "Where's Santos Escobar?" And they say, "He's resting. Don't talk about him." Anyway, then they essentially challenge Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher to a match because they interrupt. Timothy Thatcher did some really bad comedy here, which did not land for me in the slightest. He said some stupid Spanish, said El gato no tiene zapatos, which means the cat doesn't have shoes, which doesn't really mean anything, doesn't make sense. And then Ciampa was like, well, it makes perfect sense. And anyway, we should fight you. And I was like, that's not a joke. This had big WWE scripting vibes to it, and I didn't like it. Yeah,
I didn't really have strong feelings about it one way or the other, but it definitely felt more like a WWE segment than anything else.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is that I really like Ciampa and Thatcher. Like as a duo, I feel like they could be so good. Like we got a glimpse of it in the one promo they had a few weeks ago where they were just sitting backstage and they cut the promo and Ciampa was super duper serious, got up and shut the chair aside, and Thatcher just stayed there, cocked his head and smiled at the camera. I was like, that's a cool team right there. They just need to be stony faced, don't take it any S word, go out and just beat people up because they like to fight, kind of babyface duo. I'm all on board. When I look at Ciampa and Thatcher, I don't see a comedy duo, and I don't get why they're trying to do comedy, like, Toothless Timmy and hitting people with the shoes and like stuff like that. I'm like, well, Why are you doing that? That's not their strong suit. Why are you making them do that? Yeah, I don't know. That's just me, though. I just really like him. We then had, we'll talk about Cameron Grimes later when we get into his match, because those two are pretty intrinsically linked. We then had the first of two segments where Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell were getting massages. Very well produced segments. How you doing, Tempest? And
so great. Just so awesome.
Great. Okay. Candice and Indi getting massages, and Candice being like, isn't this such a great day? Just getting massages. We're the champions now. Johnny Gargano is going to take care of Bronson Reed tonight. Isn't this so great? And Indi just is getting massaged. They put the cucumber over the eyes and all that stuff. And then she says, I'm so glad that you were right about Dexter Lumis just being weird and a loser, and no one likes him, and he's stupid, and he just follows me everywhere, and he sucks. And it pans up, and it turns out that Dexter Lumis is the one giving the massage to Indi Hartwell. Bum, bum, bum. So he hears her say all this stuff, and he gets very sad, and then he walks off.
Oh, poor Dexter Lumis. He's sad. For Christ's sake, people, like, come on. I don't want to repeat myself on this show. I really don't, because I feel like it gets repetitive and all that sort of thing. And it is to an extent, it's a gimmick now. But what part of this makes any sense? He's now a masseuse. In addition to being a painter and a wrestler and a sculptor, he's a stalker. He's stalking her in this segment. Why is he there massaging her head and shoulders during her spa day? In what normal universe is this babyface behavior? He is through and through a heel in this feud, and I don't understand what. Like, I get it, it's funny, it's wacky, goofy pro wrestling. Oh my god, Dexter Lumis, the silent lover guy. Look, what is this? What am I watching? What am I watching, Pete? I don't understand.
Okay, Tempest.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna need you to not be mad at me. I thought this was all right.
If you leave logic behind,
yeah, 100%. Just
fun.
leave logic out the window. Yeah, totally.
But I don't like to do that, Pete. I like my shows to have a little bit of logic, just a little bit, just this much logic.
Yeah. He did the massage, and she said the thing, and he went and then walked off. And it's classic misunderstanding, sitcom, mishearing trope thing. It's fine. And I tell you what made me really laugh, actually, was not the segment itself, but Wade Barrett afterwards on commentary, just saying, well, I will never feel comfortable closing my eyes during a massage ever again, because I've just seen that. Love Wade Barrett. He's great. But I thought, okay. Didn't like the Dexter Lumis stuff at first. And you know that. Me and you have been back and forth, said our piece on Dexter Lumis a lot at this point. It's wearing me down, man. It's wearing me down. I didn't mind this stuff. It was okay. It's just, I'm sorry. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. It was all right.
Oh my lord.
Are you okay?
Is that real? Up, down in the chat.
I don't know if that's real.
I don't know if that's real. If it
hello.
Is. Hi.
Probably not, though.
Big fan.
I would assume probably not. Probably not real. But
probably not. Probably not. Regardless, I have not gotten to the point yet where I can just turn my brain off and enjoy the performances of the people involved.
Sure.
If I get to that point, then cool. I will, at that point, enjoy it. But until then, the absolute lack of logic in this storyline kind of kills it for me.
Luke, Weren't you and Ollie fooled by a fake AEW account? Just throwing it out there. Anywho, we then had, so that was the first of two segments. We'll get to the second one later. We then had a Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor 2 hype package. And I thought this was awesome. I thought this was so good. Because I wasn't super duper into Balor versus Kross 2. I'm sure it's going to be a great match. And I'm probably going to have a load of fun with it. But I wasn't like particularly reading the chat. I just like completely lost my train of thought. I wasn't particularly invested into the match itself. I wasn't like emotionally invested into this kind of rematch. But this made me emotionally invested into this match. Like, this was like, okay, now I really want to watch this match, because this had all of the hype that I needed. Like, it was epic dramatic music. It was them two watching their previous encounter. I love like the little comments, like Balor hitting the coup de grace, and then like Karrion Kross just being like, oh, I felt that when I was walking that off for days, kind of thing. But then he pounces out of it and gets him in the choke. I was like, I don't know how he got out of this. Like, I thought I had him here, kind of thing. It was just like very kind of like almost candid in a way of them watching it. But then like them cutting their promos on each other, saying that, this was going to be the, most epic match or whatever. And then you had different people coming in, Pat McAfee saying his piece. Paul Heyman's inclusion was a masterstroke, because he was saying everyone's going to be watching this, including your tribal chief Roman Reigns, still getting over the character, even on NXT, doesn't drop it for a second. Love it. And he's saying, I'm known for not giving predictions, but giving spoilers. But for this match, it's too close to call. And I was like, God, that's so clever. Because now it's genuinely making me feel like I don't know who's going to win this. I was like, of course I know who's going to win. Kross is going to win. That's obvious. But now, literally, all of the pieces of this, I was like, but what if he doesn't? And this was just one of those things where I was like, it's just like a genius little stroke of making people buy into the stakes of this match. I thought this was a wonderful, wonderful segment.
Yeah, this was an expertly produced promo package. It felt real. Obviously the volume's turned up because it's pro wrestling, and normally people aren't going to be like, oh, I was feeling that for days. Oh, he kicks out of all my moves. I don't know what I'm going to do, and be like really dramatic with it. But I could definitely see like a UFC fight do something like this. I could see even just like if they did a feature on like a really hyped up basketball game or hockey game or football game, and you just have the star players watching film back and commenting on it, while analysts were giving their opinion throughout. I really like when I feel like what I'm watching, I can totally suspend my disbelief. And this was a segment where like it took half a second for me to suspend my disbelief, because what I was watching felt real. And I like that. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And also, and we've said a lot about how Kross probably shouldn't cut as many promos as he does, especially not like the in-ring ones. They feel a little bit disjointed with his character and stuff like that. His promo part of this, I thought, was wonderful. So good, and fit his character perfectly. Like, this is the kind of promo that he needs to cut when he is cutting a promo. Thought it was so good. I'm really excited for that match, by the way, next week. Something else that I've really just enjoyed about NXT as a whole is every week it feels like we've got a big match coming. Because it's like, previous week we had the Cruiserweight and the NXT Women's Championship match. And then this week we had the North American Championship. Next week we've got the NXT Championship. Or at the very least, we've got like a number one contendership thing. Like, one title picture is always progressing every single week with a big match. And that is fantastic. And they cycle them in and out perfectly, I think, to just keep the wheels spinning for every single title all the time. And they do that so well in NXT, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite thing that's been brought back since TakeOver is just like they're promoting their shows again. And that's just, it feels like such a day one first lesson you learn kind of thing, where just like announce your matches beforehand, give people time to get excited for them. But WWE, because they just rewrite their stories so often, they don't do that. That being said, it's happening now in NXT, and I love it. And I really need it to like never stop happening again. It's just so good. We know matches that are going to take place 2 weeks from now, not even 1 week from now. 2 weeks from now, we know what the main event is going to be. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just good. It's just good, isn't it? And the thing is, and with NXT, they're going to follow through with it. It's not like on the main roster where they're going to say, and next week we're going to have this, and then they'll just scrap the match because rewrites and stuff. Yes. Anyway, we then had off a previous segment, we had a match, which was Cameron Grimes, who's been so good as of late. He enters into the arena and he talks to some random wrestlers who are gathered there and says, "Hey, why don't you park it out front? I'm Cameron Grimes." I just him getting out and just with the jacket and the hat and no top and all that stuff, and him just saying Cameron Grimes. I'm like, who does that? Who just says their name when they get out of like their car? He's just the best.
I completely agree with you. Who does that? Cameron Grimes does that, and
Cameron
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe he does that.
Yeah, he really does. He gets into a little verbal thing with Jake Atlas. Atlas saying, actually, Ted DiBiase's got the spot out front, so sorry, no can do. And Grimes just says, "Hey, I'm going to beat your ass in the ring," or whatever he said. So they had a match later on, which was after the Kross Balor hype package. And Cameron Grimes comes out and he said, "I'm sick of Ted DiBiase screwing me over. Here's the real Ted DiBiase." And he plays this video package of just a bunch of highlights of Ted DiBiase getting embarrassed all the time. Tons of stuff from back in the day, which I really like the fact that they reference their own continuity from decades ago. Is really nice. I quite enjoyed it.
Wrestling was so good. Like, I know it's easy to like romanticize the big moments and everything, but like, man, when you look at like the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and think about like where he is on the hierarchy of 80s wrestlers, it's probably he's not top 5 in WWE because there were so many big names, but think about that. He's like an all-time great character, but he's still like 6th, 7th from the top from that era. This is just me gushing about old wrestling.
Yeah, I will say, hilarious. But no, wrong one. This one. There it is.
He's the wealthiest Pokemon. He says his own name.
He just says his own name. Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes.
Thank you for that one, Sarah. Appreciate it. Yeah. So then the crowd obviously still chanting for DiBiase after the video package is done. Then they have a match. The match itself is fine. Whatever, bit of wrestling. And then Ted DiBiase himself comes out to NXT. They show the limo arriving earlier. He comes out towards the end of the match, and just him being there distracts Cameron Grimes. Jake Atlas gets the roll-up victory, and Ted DiBiase laughs a lot and then walks off. And Cameron Grimes once again goes out, like chases him out. He attempts to get back in the ring and beat up Jake Atlas some more, but Atlas punches him off the apron. He runs to the outside and tries to get inside his limo. I think he botched it slightly. He wasn't supposed to be able to get in, but he totally opened it on the first one anyway. But that's by the by. He totally had his hand over the edge of it, but that's by the by. It's whatever. And then the Ted DiBiase rolls down the window, and then he says some things and he drives off. It's fine. It's good. I enjoyed it.
It's a 10.5-hour drive for a 2-hour flight for 2 minutes of screen time. I hope he's staying in Orlando for a bit. I know he is. He's going to be on the show next week too. But I love the idea where he was just like, "All right, I'm going to collect that paycheck. This is fun, guys. It's good to see you all. I'll be back."
Like he needs it. He spent $20 million on a house last week. Goodness me. Then we had the little video package for Bronson Reed, just saying after 14 years he'll have made it if he wins, which was great. Then we had a sit-down interview with Pete Dunne. And yeah, same. He says he wants to go for the NXT championship. It says there's a logical reason why he should go for basically any championship in NXT, which I really like because there is, and he references his own past, which is great with Walter and saying that he beat Johnny Gargano in the ring before, which he has, which was nice. Pete Dunne has a certain type of charisma. Sit-down interviews is not his type of charisma.
No.
That's not to say he's not charismatic. He is. This kind of promo is not the kind of promo he should be cutting. They've been making him do a lot of promos lately, and I don't think that's his strong suit at all. And I get the feeling that they want him to be kind of the UK, bad man kind of character, but he just kind of isn't.
I I'll be honest, I couldn't believe they put this on TV.
Mm.
Like, we all know that Pete Dunne is amazing. I love Pete Dunne. Since starting this podcast, I've talked about him being like one of my top guys in NXT. Love his work. Nice guy. The whole deal. If someone watched this NXT for the first time, like this was their first introduction to NXT, this guy came across as the most boring non-star on the entire show. And that blows me away because I know that's not what Pete Dunne is. Pete Dunne's awesome, but like, oh my God, this was like the most boring promo segment I've ever seen. It was the most complete opposite from the Adam Cole promo segment with the same guy, Arash Markazi, just like a few weeks ago. Like, they were by the pool and he had all this charisma and he was blowing it off and he was late and he was talking on the phone. He had the sunglasses. This was just, hi, my name's Pete. Oh, I'm going. I want to face the champion. And I don't want to make fun of it because he's so good. But like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's wild. This did feel like he was having an interview, like out of character.
Yes.
It was just him sitting down and being like, "Hey, I'm feeling like I just want to go for the NXT Championship at some point. I just feel like that's the path I'm going to go down." And it was like his whole character, the last month or something, is him just being like, "I'm the baddest man in NXT. Prove me wrong." It was proper like in your face. And even though I don't think his promos in that character have been, outstanding or anything, they were good. And this just felt like a massive step back, and I do not understand why they did it. I don't know.
I've seen some people here in the comments, not even I wouldn't say they're defending it at all, but saying that it felt like a shoot interview. But if you're going to do a shoot interview type of promo on NXT, you need to do it with someone who has the charisma to just be a natural character. Pete Dunne, yeah, exactly. You need to do it with someone like Adam Cole. Maybe you could do it with someone like Tommaso Ciampa, guys that just are characters. Like if you talk to them, they would be larger than life. When you're sitting down talking to Pete Dunne, he is a guy. And that's not how I would. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Pete Dunne, who could kick anyone's ass. Wade Barrett, who was one of the better promos of the last decade in WWE.
Yeah. Oof. I don't know if they would want 6'4" Wade Barrett standing behind 5'8" Pete Dunne, but that's just me nitpicking the idea. Yeah. I mean, if he had a mouthpiece, he could be like he could be NXT champion. Just never do this again.
Yeah, it was an odd decision, is what I would call it. We then had Killian Dain versus Alexander Wolfe, which was the culmination of a few weeks of story.
Yeah.
Goes a couple minutes. Marcel Bartel throws in a chair. Wolfe goes to use it, and instead Dain hits the running splash thing and pins him.
It was an angle.
Odd. Yep. And then afterwards, Imperium seemingly kick out Alexander Wolfe. They beat him up. And then they said, and next we've got Legado del Fantasma versus Ciampa and Thatcher. This was not a big deal in the slightest. And it really should have been.
Yeah, I mean, Imperium's a big deal. Not necessarily on this show. I mean, Imperium's former NXT tag team champions, and Walter's a big deal, but I haven't really been super invested in this storyline. Like, it was fine. Everyone did their parts well, but I just this is low on the list of storylines that I care about in NXT.
Yes.
Like, the progression and everything has been good. Like, they've told the story well. I just don't care with any of the people involved, really.
Yeah, that's a shame because I really like Imperium. That's the thing. Really like what they've been doing, and I felt like if they were going to kick someone out, it should have been a bigger deal. Like Imperium's MO, what makes them stand out is their unity as a team and Matt is sacred and all that jazz, and them just being like, JK, you're out now is a bit weird, but hey ho. I guess it was like a face turn for Wolfe, I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was whatever. Then I had a backstage promo with Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai saying that they want to go for the NXT Women's Tag Championships again. Sure. And then
Dakota said that.
True. Yeah,
I feel like that's an
true.
important point. I feel like this is more Dakota being like, I want to be a champion too, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. They're kind of continuing that little dissension of Dakota and Raquel whenever that happens. And then Ever Rise come in, and then they get slapped by Raquel Gonzalez.
Let's go.
The other note I had here was that I'm glad that there was some sort of liquid in their mugs, because normally the mugs would be empty. And if someone got slapped and fell over, there wouldn't be anything coming out, and there was something that came out the mug. Good attention to detail.
Yep. I also appreciated that. Yep.
Yeah, it was good. We then had Legado del Fantasma versus Ciampa and Thatcher.
May I?
Certainly. Take the floor, Tempest.
Now this could be me totally galaxy braining it and not looking for things to be wrong, but I feel like I'm probably more negative on this match than most people, because most people could probably watch this and be like, oh, it's a fun time, look at the flippy stuff, whatever, not think too hard about this. I thought this match had the worst psychology of any match I've seen this year.
Any match?
Like, as far as a match that went time, that wasn't like 3 minutes long, as like a pushed, not promoted, but a featured match on a show. I did not get this at all. Like, you had Ciampa and Thatcher, who are the baby faces, take like 80% of this match. They were on offense the entire time. And their offense was like chin locks and headlocks and like wrist locks. And I was like, oh my God, is this match going anywhere for like the first chunk? And then they went to commercial with Legado del Fantasma starting to get the heat. They came back from commercial and Ciampa was running wild with clotheslines. Mm-hmm. So we missed that portion of heat. Nothing happened there that I saw. I don't know what that was. And then they just keep going. Legado del Fantasma are the heels, but their offense is exciting. They had like all the cool kicks and the flips and the lucha style. It just felt like these two teams were absolutely swapped. And I don't know how something like this happens. Like, it's just so weird. Like, and it just kept going. Normally, if you see something like this where the styles don't really mesh, then it's usually a short match, like it'll be like 5 minutes or less, so that they don't have, all of the cool, fun offense from the heels overshadowing the baby faces. But it just kept going.
Mm.
And then you had, like, I know that they're supposed to be the baby faces because Grizzled Young Vets came out and cost them the match, and they had a heel finish. But, like, who put this match together?
I thought it was right. I didn't notice most of that, honestly. I just quite enjoyed the action, mostly. Mostly, I was just thinking about what I mentioned before, about how I wanted Ciampa and Thatcher to be a cool, serious team, and they weren't. And I just kind of lost my own thought. I was kind of like half watching it and just being like, man, why are they a comedy team? That's kind of stupid. I just want them to come out and beat people up. That was most of my thoughts while I was watching it. But
hang on. One second. Sorry. This one comes up. Someone tell Tempest he can also like heels in a match. You're not supposed to! That's the point! You're not supposed to cheer the bad guys. I get it that we're all wrestling fans in 2021, and you can look at things and be like, oh yeah, those heels are really talented, really like their work. In the context of the match, I'm supposed to boo Legado del Fantasma. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's the point. And both of them are exciting, and they worked as baby faces, and they shouldn't have. What is happening? Sorry, that one set me off. I don't want. This was the one match in the written review where I was like, comment down below, let me know if I'm off base here, because I totally understand if people were just like, it's not that important, it's a random TV match, you just do whatever. You watch that, it's good stuff. That comment. That's wrong. I'll tell you that's wrong. Heels are meant to be booed. Go on, Pete. Rein me in.
So one, we're going to have to move on because we're going to run out of time, and we still got to talk about Swerve.
Yeah.
We haven't got there yet. Mendoza got busted open hard way from a Ciampa elbow. Looked rough. They played the replay of that one. Ow. He needs that face for important things like having a face. And also, Grizzled Young Vets come out. They cost Ciampa. I know they tried to do the Ticket to Mayhem thing onto the apron. I thought it looked a bit pants.
Yeah.
That's just me. But then, LDF get the win, which was cool. We had a backstage promo from Bobby Fish, which I thought was cool, saying that I quite like the logic of this one. He's like, I wasn't helping Kyle O'Reilly. I was getting back at Dunne and Lorcan. They put me out at War Games, a tricep surgery. Like, they showed like the scar he had from it and stuff like that, which is really cool. And so now he's back, and it was awful. Yeah. And then he says that he's going to fight Pete Dunne. Cool. Pete
I
Dunne's
will
probably
love
going
that
to win.
match.
Yeah, and Pete Dunne's probably going to win and go on to do more stuff. Cool. I'm all in for it. Yeah. Then we had the second of two of the Way segments with Indi and Candice. And Indi finds out that Candice was the one that bought the flowers. And she says, but that means that Dexter's still in love with me. But Dexter is the one that heard her say the things earlier. Gasp. Shock. Horror.
I didn't mind this one.
Yeah.
Like, I knew this segment was coming. It was a little on the nose for me, because like the massage therapist was like, yeah, I called your credit card company and you said that they had an outstanding charge for a florist and everything. I was like, would a credit card company just tell someone that? That seems like privileged information.
Yeah,
but
absolutely, they would not say that. But
I thought this may have been like stretched out over a few more weeks. But I mean, this segment went pretty much exactly how I imagined it would, just a little sooner than I expected. So good for them.
Yeah, agreed. It was cool. Indi's back interested in Dexter. We then had Saray versus Aaliyah. This
was a match.
Saray won. And you know what? I put in here, I was like, I mean, it's better than Saray not wrestling, I guess, because you get to see her do some stuff. I'm not sure if this is the best way to get Saray over. And then I said, I take it all back. Her dropkick on the ropes and that side suplex is effing awesome. Because it just is. Her doing that dropkick, there was one a couple weeks ago and one here to Aaliyah. She just doesn't stop. Like, the legs go through off the person's face and through the ropes. It's great. I love that dropkick. It's beautiful.
While I did think this was just a match, I will be fair and say that I think Aaliyah looked better here than she has in the past.
I agree. Also, yes, 100% agree. And Saray got another win. Cool. Shotzi and Ember got a promo. It was a promo.
Didn't like this. This felt super contrived.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was also a promo.
Yep.
But then we got something really good, which was Hit Row versus Toni Nese and Aria Daivari. I love it.
Oh,
I love it so much.
It's so good.
This was a perfect squash match in my humble opinion, because it wasn't one move and win. It was get everyone's characters over and make them look dominant. And you had the little comeback from Aria Daivari doing some chops and stuff like that, but then he got shut down immediately, and then they just kind of dominated some more. And it was perfect. You had, oh my god, Shanti Adonis hit a wonderful looking drop kick in the middle of this, and also it got over his whole character of him just being the one that always gets fired up and has to be held back the whole time. Him just kind of just pummeling Daivari in the corner, and the ref having to drag him off, and then his tag partner coming in, and Top Dollar having to come in and then like drag him off because he was going to get him DQ'd and stuff like that. He's the guy that's like hard to control, and Top Dollar's the guy that has all the power, and then there's Swerve, who's Swerve and is awesome the entire time. And oh my
This
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm
going to make a bold statement here.
Okay.
This is a perfect faction.
Oh, Tempest. Perfect faction.
This is giving me such early Shield vibes in a completely different way. In just that everyone here feels like they completely 100% belong. Like they all fit, but they are all completely different.
Yes.
Everyone here, they can mesh together in a similar style, but they've all got their own unique completely different wrestling styles. And that's excellent. This is the biggest thing that I look for in a faction, is if I can differentiate everyone and make it so like, okay, that's the leader. He's got that wrestling style. Here's the hard to control, high flying one. Here's the big muscly one. It's so good. It's so good. Like, I can't remember the last time I was so excited for a wrestling faction to debut.
Right? Yeah.
What? They've done nothing wrong with these guys so far. It's been perfect. I know they debuted like a week ago, but like, hey, a perfect 2 weeks that's how you start a perfect run. You have to start a perfect run with a perfect 2 weeks, and we just got a perfect 2 weeks.
Oh man. That you know what they are? You know what it is, Tempest? They're just cool. All right? They just you don't have to quantify it. You don't have to say why. They're just cool. And there's nothing more to it than that. They're just really cool. Everyone's different. Everyone's got their selling points. Oh, they're just... Give me more of that, please. So good. Love it. Thank you so much for existing. You're great. And Top Dollar got the win. It was kind of a fireman's carry into kind of like a suplexy brainbuster type thing move, which is pretty cool. I like it. It was nice. Cool looking move. And then afterwards, Swerve cut a promo saying that he wants to go for the North American Championship. It doesn't matter who wins out of Gargano and Reed. He's coming for the North American title. Yes, please. All for that. I hope he's not the next challenger to Bronson. I want Bronson to hold the title a little bit. I want Swerve to be the person that beats Bronson for the title, ideally.
Do you think, and this is based on nothing except speculation, because that's what we do here, do you think that Bronson could be one of those guys that has a very short reign and has to chase again?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he 100%. Waits 14 years to win his first WWE title. Like, oh, it's a big deal. Loses it in his first championship match to Swerve at TakeOver. And then Swerve can be the long champion while Bronson Reed chases. Because honestly, I think that serves everyone a lot better than Swerve just challenging and loses.
Yeah. Yeah. I could buy that. I'm not opposed to the idea as long as Swerve isn't as long as Reed isn't a transitional champion. Yeah. That would be great. As long as, if he loses it and there's a story to it and eventually he comes to try and win it back later, or there's a purpose to it, there's some kind of plan for Reed afterwards, I'm all for it. If they just have Reed lose and that's it, oh, well, you had your chance, off you go, that would be a bit bad, and I'd rather they extend it out, but it was good. We had the main event after that. We got confirmation of a few matches soon, which is Legado del Fantasma versus MSK for the tag titles in 2 weeks' time. So, you know, that's already going to be a big match for that show. We've got Ember and Shotzi versus Raquel and Dakota next week. Cool. Frankie Monet's having an in-ring debut next week. Grimes and DiBiase are having $1 million face-off, which is such a stupid name, and I love it. And then we've got Balor and Kross next week as well. Balor Kross 2 next week. Which
so much to be excited about.
There's a lot going on in NXT, and almost all of it is great. Like, goodness me. Overall, I thought this was a really good episode. Really good episode. There was none of the kind of like, as great as the main event was, you know, it wasn't like a takeover quality, amazing match. You have to go out your way to watch it. It was very, very fun. Really, really, really good match. But, you know, not of the same degree as like, you know, Kushida Escobar, for example, from last week or anything like that. I'd have given this a 4 out of 5 show. I thought it was very good overall.
Yeah, I think this is an easy 4 out of 5 show. There were stuff on there were things on the show that I wasn't as big a fan of, like the tag match and then the Pete Dunne interview, but that was really it. Like, if you took those 2 things out, this would be a second 5 out of 5 show in a row. Like, I love what they're doing with NXT. Like, all these smaller matches are really good. You get a good main event every week. It's promoted ahead of time, and everything advances the little stories that they've got. I've got nothing more to ask. 4 out of 5. More of this.
Yes, please, just more of this. It's logical storytelling that's progressing every week, and I cannot get enough of it. Keep doing you, NXT. Before we get into the rest of your Ultra Chats, remember, last call to get in your Ultra Chats, WrestleTalk.com/support is the link to get your Ultra Chats into, and we will read every single one of them before we get out of here today. Just wanted to say one more time, Your boys have got merch. Lost Intangibles to WrestleTalk. Go get your t-shirt. Link is in the pinned comment or at the top of the description. Go buy it. And also, if you want to become a member on this channel, there's a join button underneath this stream. You get access to a bunch of emotes, including our brand new LIW emote, Lost Intangibles Dare WrestleTalk. That's us. We're great. Now, for life. Let's get into the rest of your Ultra chats here. Bacon Rasher comes in to say, afternoon, lads. So last week I said I don't get hit row, and maybe it's because I'm 36. This week, though, love him. Very cool group. Chuff for Bronson, but Swerve has to win it from him at some point. Lost Intangibles for life. Jam that intangible. Jam that jammable. Nope, doesn't work.
No, we'll find some way.
We'll find a way to force that in and make it work somehow.
Yeah.
Karen Mirchandani says, I'm aware this is hyperbole, but that Pete Dunne interview was the most natural sounding interview I've heard in WWE in a while. Like, not just his delivery, but the questions by the interviewer were great as well. It did feel, I'll give you that. It did feel very natural. It felt like they were having a chat, which is why I don't think they should have done it.
Yeah. And if you liked it, that's awesome. I'm glad. I just didn't.
And I will say, if they did this promo with someone like Kyle O'Reilly or some kind of baby face that is supposed to be endearing to the fans, this is a perfect way to do it. Have them strip away the character and just be themselves, getting over, this is me, this is who I am. Cheer me because I'm great, I'm relatable to you. That's great. This is not Pete Dunne. This is not Pete Dunne's character that he's been portraying at all. He's a hard man and a bad man that likes to fight and he wants to beat people up. That's not a character you're supposed to cheer necessarily. So, yeah, didn't work for me. It was a bit of a contrast. Rob Steedley says, have Ciampa and Thatcher won a match since becoming a team? They look amazing, but they keep coming up short.
Yeah, they beat Grizzled Young Vets.
They did. They certainly did. Via a shoe.
Via a shoe. Yeah. Wade Barrett's shoe, in fact.
Via Wade Barrett's shoe. Bacon Rasher again says, hi again, lads. I think Ciampa and Thatcher are a decent team and now have sort of matching Harrington jackets. Is matching ring gear a step too far for them? Also, Grimes and DiBiase, I could honestly watch a film of them. So random and so good together. LIW for life. Yeah. Suck it.
Look at it. Look at him putting Mr. Davis in there. He's so vain. His name's Oliver.
Oliver. Anyway. Yes, Grimes and DiBiase I could watch a film of. They're the best.
If this was like 10 years ago, this would have been a perfect thing to put on WWE.com as like a dirt sheet kind of running series.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's exactly that, yeah. OGP, yeah, you know me, comes in to say, been a while since I watched NXT, but after Hit Row debuted last week, had to go back and watch. Made me excited to watch live this week while writing my paper for my final. I'm all in. Also, LIW, best storyline in wrestling. Elite who? Roman what? LMAO, Lost Intangibles for life. It's not that hard, guys. Oliver. And we've got loads more Ultra chats about Lost Intangibles to WrestleTalk, because why wouldn't we? Tempest? Do you want to take these ones?
Oh, I don't see why not. Of course, we've got Judas Macias back saying, you guys are welcome for the money. Anywho, got my Lost Intangibles shirt ordered. Dexter still the best and will be next champ soon. Well, that's your money again. And that is a solid t-shirt. Be like Judas Macias and order a shirt. The H Train 24 says, will Dexter cause the Intangibles to break up quicker than a 3-week push? Hell no.
No.
This is a bond.
Exactly.
No wrestler.
We're stronger than Dexter Lumis. Come on now.
Dexter Lumis is going to break up the Intangibles. Get out of here. Ronald Fisher says, I ordered the Lost Intangibles shirt before your reveal. So before it was cool. That's interesting. I don't know that they went on sale until they did that. But all right. It was
probably a few hours before, yeah, but sure, whatever.
Yeah, there you go. What do I know? Does that make me a hipster? How much did Ollie Docker pay for his new hair?
Yeah, I know.
What a vain
hair
man.
Transplants aren't cheap, I tell you. Spending that company money on it.
Yeah.
This guy.
The Zornese says, just want to pay some money to tell you your promos were the highlight of last Sunday. Love, love, love it. Pete, what's your favorite character, class, race in D&D? Tempest, have you ever played D&D, and what class would you like if you have played?
So, first things first, you should listen to the podcast version of this very podcast because we have exclusive bits on the intro and the outro, and we actually talk about D&D on the outro of today's podcast, where I kind of gush about it for a little bit, and then Tempest says, "Yes, D&D."
I said my feelings about D&D.
You
They were
certainly
positive.
They were, yes. My favorite class race, I don't know if I have a favorite. Class, I'm gonna be a basic bitch and just say that barbarians are really cool because it's fun to hit stuff really hard and just rage at stuff. Yeah, sorry, it's a very basic answer. Race, I don't know, they're all cool. Yeah, they're fun. Make a cool character out of anything. There you go.
Yeah,
that's my cop-out answer.
My favorite character is the Joker. My favorite class was English. My favorite race is the Amazing. C69. Thanks, Pete.
Very good. Very good.
Sadie69.
This is why we have Tempest on these shows. This is why the intangibles are a thing.
Yeah. Sadie6969 Deegan says, in that intangible, lost that intangible, D&D that New Japan. I don't know, love y'all. Hit Row is the coolest faction we've seen in ages.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
D&D that New Japan is. Whoa, that's a tangent. That's a diversion.
Oh yeah. And the last Ultra Chat to come in is from Cyclone, saying, I regret spamming the name that shall not be named, Pete. I'm sorry. Lost intangibles, lost intangibles, lost intangibles, lost intangibles, lost intangibles, lost intangibles. Lost intangibles, lost intangibles, lost intangibles, lost intangibles. Oliver.
Yeah. Let's get that one in there.
Nailed it home there at the end.
Can we get Oliver over? Anytime that Ollie is on any sort of stream from now on, any kind of podcast stream, any prediction stream, live reactions, everyone must refer to him as Oliver. Oliver. Full name, Oliver. Let's see if we can get that over. Just as over as the intangibles are, because we're super over. We've got merch and also an emote. Join the channel. Get your LIW emote. Go to the link in the pinned comment or at the top of the description. Get your LIW t-shirt. We're the best. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of NXT. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you're watching on catch up, please press the videos that have just appeared on the screen to catch up with more awesome WrestleTalk podcast stuff and the button in the middle that will make you become a pledge hammer over on Patreon. I have been Chopper Pequena. I've been joined by my intangible co-host Tempest. We are the Intangibles for life.